What's up, party people? I'm back again, and this one is a random one. This was definitely by client request, and in this video, we're going to be talking about simplifying radicals. Now, let's just go ahead and be real. I am in the airport, and I will be catching a flight soon, so this video may be turned into two parts. So let's get right into it. We are going to simplify radicals, but we're going to start with just simplifying them, and then we're going to go a little deeper, depending on how much time we have. So as you can see, the first two examples are already up here. Let me change the color. So what we're doing for number one, we have the square root of 12. So what we want to do is we want to break these radicals down into simplest form. So one of the things I always teach is create a list of, so if we have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15, right? And then on the bottom, I want to create, so let's just imagine this is X, and then this is X squared. So 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, and let's separate these by lines. 81, 100, 121, 144, 169, 196, and 225. So the bottom row is where we take the top number and we take it to the second power. This is important because if you have the square root of the numbers on the bottom row, they will be equal to the number above it. So here I have the square root of 12. So that breaks down to 4 times 3, right? And this is actually, let's see something, because this, I did it wrong. So let's mark through this. So that's technically incorrect. Yesterday I must have been doing something strange or was really tired. So I have the square root of 4 times 3, right? So here what we're going to do is we're going to take this. 4 is a perfect square number. So we want to break the number under the radical into factors. And we want one of those factors to be a perfect square number. So 4 is a perfect square number. The square root of 4 is 2, and it's going to go out there. So we erase that. So the square root of 4 is 2, so I'm going to have 2, and then I leave the radical under the square root. So that will be your answer for that. Number 2, this one, 343 may or may not be a perfect square number. I don't think 343 is a perfect square number, but I broke it down into 7 squared times 7. So let's see. Let's see if 343 is a perfect square number. And let's say 343 square root, it's not. So what I did was I broke it down to 7 squared, which is, I do know that it's 49 times 7. And 49, so we did it like this, 7 squared, which is 49. So I could say square root of 49 times 7. And then the square root of 49 is 7, so we end up with 7 times the square root of 7. All right, when I get to number 3, I have 148. All right, let's do this. I'm sorry, 108. So 108 is the same thing as 36 times 3. Well, 36 is a perfect square number, so we're going to take that square root, which is 6, and we get 6 times the square root of 3. Now, I'm going to go through these pretty fast. I'll probably do a second video to kind of break some of these down. Square root of 8 is actually the square root of 4 times 2. 4 being a perfect square number, we take the square root of 4 and put it out there, and we get 2 times the square root of 2. All right. As you notice, some of these numbers are tougher than others. Okay, so square root of 320, I know that 320 is equal to 64 times 5. And sometimes you have to play with these numbers, okay, just to figure out what they are. So square root of 64 is 8. So I get 8 times the square root of 5. 112, we can break that down. 112 is equal to 16 times 7. Square root of 16 is 4, so we get 4 times the square root of 7. 196. 196 actually is a perfect square number. So that's 14 times 14. So then this just equals 14. And then 98 is equal to the square root of 49 times 2 is 98. So we can take, we can take the square root of that and bring it out front. So we get 7 times the square root of 2. I apologize for the noise in the background, but those people don't know that I'm recording on YouTube. So you can use this chart at the top to kind of help you with these. Okay. So now let's go to addition and subtraction. So we're going to do the same thing, but we have to add and subtract. Now, in order to add or subtract radicals, you have to have the number on the outside of the radical be the same. So if I have, the number on the inside of the radical. So if I have a times the square root of b plus c times the square root of b, then that gives me a plus c times the square root of b. So you can only add or subtract them if the number under the radical is the same. So meaning this part has to be the same in order for you to add or subtract that a and that c. Okay. So in number 9, we're gonna have we're gonna start by saying -2 times the square root of 6. Because if you break that down into factors, 3 times 2, neither one of those are perfect square numbers. Okay, so, but I do know that since I have 6 in the first one, I'm going to say 54 divided by 6 equals what? Or what number times 6 equals 54? So it's 9 times 6. Notice 9 is a perfect square number. So I take that number. So then what I get here is I keep the -2 square root of 6, and then plus 2, the square root of 9 is 3. So 2 times 3 square root of 6. Okay. And so now that gives me -2 square root of 6 plus 2 times 3 is 6 square root of 6. And then now I take -2 plus 6. So -2 plus 6 times the square root of 6 is going to give me 4 times the square root of 6. Okay. So that's your answer to number 9. That's your answer to number 9. I'm going to kind of erase these as I go because these are going to take more time, right? Or they're going to take more space. All right. So when I look at number 10, I have 3 square root of 8. Oh, actually, let's do square root of 4 times 2. Okay. Minus square root of 4 times 2. Notice they both have a 4. Okay. So that 4 is a perfect square number here and here. So the square root of 4, we multiply it times the number outside. So I end up with 3 times 2 square root of 2 minus 2 square root of 2. Okay. So that gives me 3 times 2 is 6. 6 square root of 2 minus 2 square root of 2. And so 6 minus 2 square root of 2 equals 4 square root of 2. All right. Number 11. Let's do 11 over here in green. So 11. So I have 2, and we're going to break 54 is 6 times 9. So 9 times 6 minus 3 square root. Now, I have a 9 and a 6, and I know that this 9 is a perfect square number, right? So I'm going to be left with the 6 under the radical. So I want to figure out, okay, well, what number times 6 equals 24? So 4 times 6. Notice the 4 is a perfect square number. So, boom, we take square root of those numbers circled and multiply it by the number in front. So I'm going to say 2 times 3 square root of 6 minus 3 times 2 square root of 6. So I have 6 square root of 6 minus 6 square root of 6. Okay? So then now this actually ends up being 6 square root of 6 minus 6 square root of 6 equals 0. So number 11 is 0. Okay? Number 12. Let's clear this out. Number 12, we have 2 square root of 2 square root of 24 plus 2 square root of 24. So I'm going to say 2 square root of 4 times 6 plus 2 square root of 4 times 6. Notice that the 4 is a perfect square number. So boom, circle that and multiply it by the front. So I have 2 times 2 square root of 6 plus 2 times 2 square root of 6. So that's going to give us 4 square root of 6 plus 4 square root of 6. And if I add those two together, 4 square root of 6 plus 4 square root of 6 gives me 8 square root of 6. Okay, so that's number 12. Okay. Number 13. All right, so number 13, I got negative square root of 9 times 2 minus 2 square root of 9 times 2. All right, so here, circle that, take the square root of those. So I have negative 3 square root of 2 minus 2 times 3 square root of 2. All right, so that equals negative 3 square root of 2 minus 6 square root of 2. And then the negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9 square root of 2. All right. 14. I have negative square root of 4 times 6 plus 2 square root of 4 times 6. And so the 4 is a perfect square number. Take it out there. 4 perfect square number. Take it out there. So I get negative 2 square root of 6 plus, oh gosh, my son's trying to call me. So plus, I did not mean to do that. I don't know what just happened. So plus 2 times 2 square root of 6. All right, so I get negative 2 square root of 6 plus 4 square root of 6. And negative 2 plus 4 gives me 2 square root of 6. All right, let's clear those out. Last two, negative 2 square root of 4 times 6 minus 2 square root of 4 times 6. All right, so here, we're going to take the square root of those. So now I got negative 2 times 2 square root of 6 minus 2 times 2 square root of 6, which equals negative 4 square root of 6 minus 4 square root of 6. And negative 4 minus 4 gives me negative 8 square root of 6. All right. Last but not least, I have negative square root of 2, can't do anything with that, minus 2 square root of 9 times 2, okay? So I'm going to take this 9, take the square root and multiply it by that. So I got negative square root of 2 minus 2 times 3 square root of 2. And this is negative square root of 2 minus 6 square root of 2, which equals, remember, this is a negative 1 here. So negative 1 minus 6 is negative 7 square root of 2. All right. So that is the first group. I'm going to do a second video on this one to show you all how to multiply and divide these. Hopefully this is helpful. Do me a favor. I should have said this at the beginning, but like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully this helps. And I'll share a part 2 to this lesson, to where I show you how to multiply and divide radicals. Remember, I got the